Good morning. My name is Jeff, and welcome to my channel, The Midlife Mixer. Normally, I want to talk about happy things and happy music and uh, music that, well, this music that we're going to listen to touches me. But late, what was it? 2 days ago, yesterday, we had the No Kings protest march, and my legs are just not good enough to walk in any marches. Um, but I just want to say, there's a lot of things going on in the world. And one thing that's driving me nuts or made me very sad is the political violence. And I want to do a whole protest mix. But that takes a lot of work. I mean, any type of mix, to get 20 to 30 songs together that connect, you know, well together, that takes a lot of work. And so I didn't want to wait that long. And I wasn't really sure what to do. Because I was thinking, well, maybe I could do it on, political speeches. And, for me, uh, I have a couple of favorite speakers, Martin Luther King and Howard Zinn. But no, I didn't want to do that. Okay. I could go on and talk about what I did want to do. And let me tell you what I am going to do. The artist that we're going to listen to is Larry Norman. And the song is The Great American Novel. He wrote this in 1972, right? So that's a long time ago, but it's one of my, I don't want to say favorite, but this protest song hits me the most. And even though it was written in 1972, you could play it now, which we are going to do, and it speaks to us now. At least it speaks to me. And it speaks about racism, and it speaks about the government. It speaks about poverty. And the thing is, I want to warn you. So Larry Norman was the pioneer or a pioneer of Christian rock. So he was one of those, I don't want to say hippies because I don't think he was a hippie, but well, he maybe was. But the music that he played was really good and very controversial, not just for mainstream audiences, but for the church too. So he must have done something right because he pissed people off. He pissed everyone off. Okay, but I wanted to show this or listen to this with you. We're gonna do the lyrics one, and thank God there is a lyrics one, so you could read it as he's singing it. And so I definitely appreciate that. I found this version. And so here we go.
I was born and raised an orphan in a land that once was free, in a land that poured its love out on the moon. And I grew up in the shadows of your silos filled with grain, but you never helped to fill my empty spoon. And when I was 10, you murdered law with courtroom politics, and you learned to make a lie sound just like truth. But I know you better now, and I don't fall for all your tricks. And you've lost the one advantage of my youth. You kill a black man at midnight just for talking to your daughter. Then you make his wife your mistress, and you leave her without water. And the sheet you wear up on your face is the sheet your children sleep on. And at every meal you say a prayer you don't believe, but still you keep on. And your money says in God we trust, but it's against the law to pray in school. You say we beat the Russians to the moon, and I say you starved your children to do it. You are far across the ocean in a war that's not your own. And while you're winning theirs, you're gonna lose the one at home. Do you really think the only way to bring about the peace is to sacrifice your children and kill all your enemies? The politicians all make speeches while the newsmen all take notes, and they exaggerate the issues as they shove it down our throats. Is it really up to them whether this country sinks or floats? Well, I wonder who would lead us if none of us would vote. Well, my phone is tapped and my lips are chapped from whispering through the fence. You know every move I make, or is that just coincidence? Will you try to make my way of life a little less like jail? If I promise to make tapes and slides and send them through the mail, and your money says in God we trust, but it's against the law to pray in school. You say we beat the Russians to the moon, and I say you starved your children to do it. You say all men are equal, all men are brothers. Then why are the rich more equal than others? Don't ask me for the answers, I've only got one: that a man leaves his darkness when he follows the sun.
So that's it. It's a short, like a couple of minute song. Um, I don't agree with everything in that song, and I bet you don't either. But there's a lot of things that we can agree on, and a lot of my views have changed over the years, right? And he was talking about, there was that line in there that about what would happen if we decide not to vote? Who would lead us if people decide not to vote? And I definitely disagree with that, right? I really believe even if 10% of just eligible voters would vote, the politicians would have to change things, because the whole idea is the less people vote, the more control that they have. Don't get me started. And he talks about he definitely talks about religious views and about the money and in God we trust, but it's against the law to pray in schools, right? And I totally disagree with that. Even though, God, I wish we would have religious education, just in general. But of course, that I would want that, but I know that in public schools, that's just not going to be a good idea because they're going to take that over and really teach nonsense. Anyway, I could go on, but as you heard in that song, there was a lot of issues that um, echo today. Just that whole idea where you kind of want me just to send cassettes through the mail, and uh, I feel like that's the whole idea about control nowadays. I mean, and it was control then. They don't want the protest. They don't want to be, just send it through the mail. Just, um, you could have your First Amendment. Just don't do it so we could hear you. Anyway, so I am going to leave it at that. I just want to say, I don't know what I want to say, but today is the first day of the rest of your life, right? Go out and enjoy it, and really make your voice heard. You know, and I'm not sure. I wanted to be in the protest, but I feel like I can't, or I could physically I couldn't, or I was too afraid of doing that. I was going to sign off, and here I am still talking. But do something. And if this is the least I could do, this might not be good for my channel at all. But at this point, I'm not really sure if I care. I want to say, this is my First Amendment, and I want to use it. And I think people should have those rights. And if we don't use them, then maybe, they'll go away. Okay, I'm going to say this again and then sign off. I guarantee it. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So go out and enjoy it. Bye for now.